I think it's a great marketing position to take, and I understand sort of how that happens, how we become sort of an antidote. But it's its own love story. I mean, Old Fashioned. When we were making Old Fashioned, we knew nothing about the 50 Shades of Grey movie. Like, we were in pre-production about the same time, well, not pre-production, but development about the same time the novel was coming out.
So just a coincidence.
It was a coincidence. And what happened, though, when we finished the film, we were originally going to release the film this fall, right now. The film was going to be in theaters. But earlier this year in February, when 50 Shades announced that they were going to release on Valentine's Day 2015, sort of our marketing team stopped and said, hey, this is something we might want to consider. So and we thought if we held off, and we had to be patient, because when the film is done, everyone's anxious to get it in theaters. So we said, if we wait, we might have a great conversation starter here culturally. And sure enough, when we announced, it just blew up immediately. I mean, Time picked it up, MTV, Variety. One of the people that approached us, I'm not going to name, it's a very large media conglomerate, they said, we'd love to interview, and we said, why? Because we're waiting, because you always sort of want to know where people are coming from. And she says, look, our building is divided on this issue, and we think it's fascinating that there's an indie film that's willing to go toe-to-toe, sort of David Goliath battle with a juggernaut like 50 Shades. And so we're finding it's really pushing the cultural conversation, because ironically enough, something like Old Fashioned, which is about as traditional as it can get, is now kind of countercultural. It's sort of almost like punk rock. That's how different it is. So it's very interesting. This particular story, Old Fashioned, is one that's been close to my heart for a long time. And it sort of explores themes and ideas that I think are worth talking about today. It's sort of, is the hookup culture the only option for young people that are dating, looking for love? Or are there other ways we can think about some of this stuff? It's really just engaging that conversation.
Why is it that Jesus and God can sometimes be the boogeyman in Hollywood? When movies like this, you want to write them, you want to produce them, and people are like, oh, stay away, there's God, there's Jesus, there's faith. So what's up with that?
Well, I think I understand it to a certain degree, because it is scary. When you're making a large budget film, you have a $100 million budget film, you have to shoot for the common denominator. But I would push back on that a little and say, I think asking spiritual questions, whether it's in a Christian context or a Muslim context or a Jewish context or Buddhist or Hindu or any, I think the search for God and spiritual meaning is pretty universal. I don't think that's exclusively a niche thing, and so it's interesting to me how people always get sort of riled up over that. As a lot of stuff that is sort of put in that faith-based niche is people feel it's just propaganda. It's not about characters experiencing a story or growing, and oftentimes the person of faith is perfect. And I think in Old Fashioned, one of the things we really tried to do is it's not about, these are characters, they're not examples, okay? These are people that are searching for God, searching for meaning. Both the guy and the girl have very broken, sexually adventurous histories, and they're trying to find something better together. And so it's really not about, putting out a certain belief system or indoctrinating anyone into anything. It's just asking questions about what are ways we can approach love that lead to greater wholeness and healing and greater lasting relationships.
Please, when this movie premieres next Valentine's Day, go out and see it. Old Fashioned. Thank you very much, Rick.